Bert begins with the narrative of Adam Jones, a bad-tempered cook. Adam is seen on a bus, recalling the advice of his previous mentor, Jen Luck. Despite his talent as a chef, he had a history of drug abuse. Not only did this act ruin his job, but it also ruined the reputation of the leading restaurant in Paris, owned by Jean Luc, where he previously worked. Adam then traveled to New Orleans to punish himself with 1,000,000 shells as penance. After going through a difficult period, he chose to construct everything from scratch. He plans to open his own restaurant and achieve 3 Michelin stars. He traveled to London to meet his old friend Tony, who had previously worked with him in Paris. Tony is the hotel manager at the Langham Hotel in London, which his family owns. He requested Tony to work as the head chef at one of his restaurants. When Tony heard Adam's request, he could only laugh because he knew Adam had a nasty past. Furthermore, he has numerous adversaries, including those he has hurt and drug traffickers who are still seeking for him due to outstanding debts. Later, Adam was spotted seeing another acquaintance named Conti. During his conversation, he finds that Jean-Luc died. When he tasted the food at Conti's restaurant, he instantly requested to meet the chef. He entered the kitchen and met a female chef named Helene. He arrogantly attacked Helene's cooking approach, which he thought was inappropriate, and Helene immediately despised him. After a while traveling, Adam ran across an old acquaintance named Michael. Adam once damaged Michael by unleashing rats in his restaurant, therefore he may still have a grudge against him. However, it turns out that Michael has forgiven Adam and wants him to join him when he opens his own restaurant. Adam visits a suburban restaurant in search of a brilliant chef before opening his own restaurant. He meets a young chef named David, who admires him and enjoys his meals. Adam likes David's cuisine and invites him to the restaurant on the condition that he remain at David's apartment temporarily. Adam prepares a lunch for David and his girlfriend in David's apartment. Despite his fame as a chef, Adam's cooking approach is out of date. A few days later, Adam saw Helene again and invited her to his restaurant. Helene denied the request and promptly fled, remembering Adam's reaction when he criticized her cuisine. After failing to persuade Helene to join him, Adam then meets a female restaurant critic named Simone Forth. Adam asks Simone to help him with an impromptu inspection of Tony's restaurant. The goal is that he can be re-employed by Tony. Sometime later, Simone came to visit Tony's restaurant. Seeing Simone getting out of the car in front of his restaurant, Tony was immediately nervous and asked the chef to make the best dish. But as it turned out, the food cooked by the chef was very simple and would not fit into Simone's criteria. Tony was forced to allow Adam to cook in his restaurant due to time constraints. Simone's order was served as soon as Adam finished cooking it. Then, as intended, she thoroughly loves her lunch, saving Tony's restaurant from criticism. Later that night, Adam reassures Tony that he has changed. He asked Tony if he could work at his restaurant and promised to obtain a 3 Michelin star. Finally, after hearing his tenacity and services that day to save his business from Simone's criticism, he accepted to collaborate with Adam. The next day, Adam pays a visit to his closest friend Reese, with whom he had worked at Jean-Luc's restaurant in Paris. He critiques the cuisine at Reese's restaurant for utilizing modern equipment. As a result, their talk heated up, especially when Reese learned that Adam was striving for 3 Michelin stars. The most recent chef to be hired is Max, a young man recently released from prison who previously worked as a chef in Paris. Max gladly accepted the offer. Long story short, Adam is methodically preparing for his restaurant's opening, starting with selecting cuisine ingredients, room decorating, and every restaurant aspect to his specifications. Finally, Adam's restaurant, Adam Jones' restaurant at the Langham Hotel, opened, and he became the head chef. Meanwhile, Helene was fired the same day. It turns out that Adam planned everything so that Helene could work with him. Adam then offered to pay her 3 times her current income to work for him. On Helene's first day on the job, a problem emerged since his restaurant had 4 unoccupied tables, which a reporter covered in the news. The ambitious Adam grew emotional upon hearing this. On that day, he became enraged and blasted all of his cook's work. He released his rage by hurling plates and cutlery around the kitchen while making a supper. After cooling off, he returned to the kitchen and instructed the chefs to cook flawlessly with no mistakes. Helene refused to remain silent in the face of this. She chastised Adam since his food did not reflect his outmoded culinary style. Helene was dismissed on her first day of work as a result of the debate. However, the next day, Tony, the restaurant manager, came to see Helene and persuaded her to return to work. He asked Helene to help him comprehend Adam's violent attitude. Adam's aggressive and haughty personality was shaped by his tough childhood, particularly in the absence of his parents. Helene later accompanied Tony with contemporary culinary items and instructed Adam to adapt to the changing circumstances. Adam accepted and restarted the busy restaurant. The use of modern culinary gear to save time and improve efficiency in offering new menus in the restaurant has paid off. Adam's restaurant was running as planned, with delighted customers. In fact, a male critic named Emil, Tony's father, visited the restaurant and wrote a positive review of Adam Jones' restaurant, which was published in the newspaper. Adam's longtime friend, Reese, learned of the news from the press. Adam's success frustrates and angers Reese to the point where he destroys his own restaurant. Day after day, Adam and Helene's cohesiveness improved, resulting in culinary menu designs that met expectations. They frequently collaborate to create new menu items, till the seeds of love sprout between them. One day, Tony gathered all of the restaurant waiters to inform them that a Michelin rating could arrive at any time. As a result, Tony instructed them to be vigilant by describing the Michelin review team's features whenever they visited his restaurant. Some of the characteristics include the fact that they always arrive in pairs, order appetizers and desserts, and one of them will leave the fork on the floor. So Tony instructed the entire restaurant crew to work precisely together, because even the smallest error would be spotted. Helene came to see Adam that night and requested to leave the following day because it was her daughter's birthday. Unfortunately, Adam did not give permission, so Helene became irritated and released her frustration in the kitchen. Helene continued to work with her daughter, Lily, the following day. Tony saw this and took the initiative to ask Adam to bake a birthday cake for Lily. Adam first objected, but because Tony insisted on it, he was eventually forced to comply. When Lily and Tony arrived at a restaurant table, Adam presented her with a birthday cake. While discussing, Lily called Adam a furious giant, but Adam remained polite and calm, making Helene pleased. Later on, Reese invites Adam to his restaurant. Adam was requested to bring a companion to help him control his anger. Adam apparently brought Helene with him. He unexpectedly meets his ex-girlfriend, Jean-Luc's daughter, Anne-Marie, and informed him that her father had instructed her to hand on his personal knife to Adam, whom he believed was worthy of being his successor. After attending his friend's restaurant opening ceremony, Adam daydreamed at a market near his establishment. Helene approached and they discussed their past. Adam stated that during his boyhood, he worked in the fish market. Then, after earning enough money, he came to Paris and was taught by Jean-Luc to work in his restaurant. There he met Tony, Reese, Max, and the others. However, one day he devastates the restaurant's reputation, his personal life, and injures his friends. After that, they left the market to return to the restaurant. When Adam returns to the restaurant, the drug dealer contacts him because he still owes him money. Helene, who was concerned, then searched for him. She discovered Adam sitting in pain next to the trash can, his face beaten. Helene took Adam inside the restaurant and treated his wound. Not long later, a restaurant waiter approached him and informed him that diners shared the same traits as the Michelin review crew. Hearing this, Adam stood up and walked straight to the kitchen to place meal orders, despite his injuries. Because it was Adam's desire to receive a Michelin honor, his crew collaborated to assist him produce the dish. However, Tony returned a few moments later with an order from the previous visitor. The visitor complained because the food he ordered tasted too spicy. Adam was surprised to learn that Michael had ruined the food provided to the visitor. Michael had collaborated with Adam solely to bring him down because Adam had previously harmed his restaurant. The encounter had left Adam devastated and irritated. He went drinking and arrived at Reese's restaurant drunk. Even there, he attempted suicide. However, Reese intervened and averted the action. When Adam awoke, he promptly prepared his meal. The best moment is when a friend is present even under the most challenging circumstances. This is because, after Adam informed him what had happened, Reese encouraged him to stand up right away, suggesting that he was better than him. Even Reese and the other cooks need Adam as a rival to keep everyone motivated. On his way back to the restaurant, Adam encountered a drug dealer who grinned at him in the afternoon. It found out that Anne-Marie had paid off all of his debts. Anne only wanted to repay Adam's goodwill by giving her father's knife at the time. Tony and Helene entered the late Jean-Luc's chamber after spotting his knife. Tony explained that the guest who filed a complaint was not from the Michelin review crew, but rather a software seller who happened to be eating. When Adam heard this, he became so thrilled that he unconsciously kissed Tony. A few days later, two diners visited the eatery. Both guests have the features of a Michelin evaluation crew. However, when Tony revealed this information to Adam in the kitchen, Adam's reaction was diametrically opposed to normal. He instructed the chef to operate as normal, cooperatively, and without pressure. Adam, who used to be aggressive, arrogant, and selfish, now runs the kitchen differently. He is now calmer and more confident in his cook's abilities. Adam appears to be overjoyed at the end of the video, especially now that he has achieved his ultimate goal of receiving a 3 Michelin star rating. The movie concludes, "This video teaches us that, while there is always a second opportunity, getting it is never easy. Furthermore, if we do not correctly use the trust that has been granted to us, we may not receive it again. It takes time and effort to regain the trust of those we disappointed."